Well, howdy, Fort Bend. William Ferguson coming to you today from the beautiful Seth in Sugarland, Texas, home of Howdy Fort Bend. I'm so excited to be here today. I have another special guest for you. All of you that sit around and you always tell me in your messages, well, I don't know how to meet anybody. I don't know who to vote for. I don't know what they stand for. Well, guess what? You get to meet a guy, and ironically, your name is just almost appropriate, minus one letter, right?
Right.
Yeah, so we've got Adam. Say your last name.
Pronounced Schoof.
Schoof.
Spelled school with an F instead of an L.
Yeah, it sure looks like school to me, and I think Adam's messing with us. But hey, Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's so great to have you. So the reason you're on the show today, one, certainly is because you're running for position 2 on Fort Bend ISD,
Yes.
Board of Trustees. And that's certainly important to me. But the real reason you're here is several people that I know that are very aware of the school and the school board. They told me a lot about you. And so I've heard a lot of good, and I'm dying to hear some of your stories, everything from the airplane situation and more. So you ready for this?
I am.
All right. So, Adam, I always start with, Adam, you're currently running for the school board position. My question is, why Adam? Why you?
Well, first, I've got a almost 10-year-old daughter in the district, and I want to make sure that she has a safe school career and also an environment that will foster her growth to be as successful as possible as an adult. Better yet, I am a public servant in Fort Bend County and a military veteran, so I'm sworn. I feel that the oath that I took, I've sworn to public service, and I'm going to continue that service even after my military career and as I continue my law enforcement career.
How many years in the military were you?
I did 4 years.
Really? What branch?
Army.
Well, we don't know about the Army,
Hey,
guys.
hey,
Yeah, I'm not going to give you a hard time. I appreciate your service.
Go Army, beat Navy.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that great? Exactly. Hey, so tell us about your law enforcement.
So I've been a law enforcement officer, including my military time, for 14 years.
You're old.
Well, not really. I just started at 18.
I'm giving you maturity here. So 14 years isn't bad. Yeah. This year is 32 years for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've carried my it used to be T-Cole. I've carried a license since 1992, full-time with Stafford. I've been everywhere. And I love Fort Bend, and it's in our DNA, I can tell.
Absolutely.
And so we don't really have a choice. You know, people say all the time, well, they're not paid enough. The truth is, don't tell anyone that pays us, but I would probably do it for free like I do now as a reserve.
Right.
So
and the second that I'm eligible to retire, and
yeah.
I'll be a reserve as well
Isn't it great?
Until I can no longer physically be a policeman.
See, here's a good sign.
Yeah.
55, you're younger. You got at least till 55.
Hey, I'll take it. Hey, if I can still put on a duty belt at 55, I'll be very, very happy.
You will. I got a good feeling. So so now we understand why. So why now? Like it's 2024. Why now? Position 2.
Well, the former the woman who currently holds position 2 is no longer running.
Okay.
And that's where I kind of had the thought of, well, maybe I ought to put my name in the hat and try to make this district a little bit better. All the other parents that I know feel like there's a bit of a lack of transparency and reachability, and you know, I pretty freely throw my phone number out there. Anybody can call me, and
you may live to regret that one day.
I understand.
If you only know some of the stuff that I get, and I'm in city council, school board, I think is even worse.
Well, I do sit on 2 HOA boards within the county.
Oh, there you go. That's a good add-on.
I'm kind of used to. I'm used to that, and I kind of found that. You know, you get a lot of phone calls at first, and then everything kind of smooths out, and you only get a phone call when there's a problem. When
people understand that you're going to say yes and no, fewer people want to bother you. If they think you may say yes, trust me, when you can say no well, they will stop bothering you.
Right.
I'm good at no now. Used to, I wasn't so good. Hey, so great timing. She's leaving, opportunity for you to come in. So what I'm picking up in our conversation, you're not hit on anything yet because I've not bugged you. If you could identify 2 concerns you have at Fort Bend ISD. And I'm being specific about Fort Bend ISD. There's about 1 million concerns I have for HISD, but I want to talk about Fort Bend ISD, maybe 2 concerns you have that are going to be a driving force for you.
Well, one of them would be I'm real big advocate for the CTE programs, college or career technical education, where kids are learning practical, actual work-related skills,
Right.
such as getting welding certifications, barber certifications,
Of course.
things of that nature. And there's a problem that I've identified where the majority of the kids that are going through these programs, they're not taking state exams or not passing state exams to actually get licensed. So I'd like to see, what the issue is there, and also I'd like to see more CTE programs in individual high schools as opposed to centralized at one building in the district. And another issue that I have is, restorative justice program for the disciplinary.
Sure.
It kind of seems, especially in the high school age, a high schooler is 4 years away from, or actually 3 years away from being a legal adult, being subject to, that real thick book that we had to read in the academy. And it just kind of seems that with restorative justice, teachers have to do a lot of documentation before there's an immediate disciplinary action, and at the same time, it doesn't seem like there's consistency to the students themselves. And I'd like to see where there's now a manual or a rule book that is very clear that this is what's wrong, and if you do this, this is what will be a punishment. Pretty, because. And something kind of no different to how it's going to operate when they're an adult in society.
Right.
And one of the things that I had in high school that was really actually pretty awesome was peer court.
Okay.
So there were certain lesser quote unquote offenses for disciplinary offenses would go before a jury of actual peers.
Right.
The kids on the debate team were attorneys.
Interesting.
And it actually was so successful at the time that there were judges that started watching this, and they started letting the schools use their actual courtrooms.
Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and it was giving students a voice, and it was no different than how it is when they're adults.
That's real life stuff. That's good. That's good stuff. So you picked up, and it's probably because we're in law enforcement. I heard you say, I want our kids safe. Are you concerned about safety? I know and you don't have to get into it too deep, but is there a concern there?
Yes, I do have a concern.
Okay.
So, almost 100 years ago now, the percentages in deaths and injuries for construction issues in schools were comparable to the active shooter statistics now.
Okay.
Fires, basement collapses, roof collapses, things of that nature. And we've, as a society, evolved well past that, and we've been doing very specific fire drill trainings for years.
Right.
We changed the construction of these schools. And then now, unfortunately, in my generation, our problem has been active shooters ever since really Columbine. And one of the things that I've noticed is, after 14 years of law enforcement and being on an SRT at one point as an MP, and I spent a lot of time analyzing. There's a threat around that corner. What is the safest way for me to round that corner?
Yeah.
I see problems with the way that the schools are constructed. They are very tactically difficult for responding units, and they're also, in a lot of cases, very easy for somebody to be on the offense of, to actually, attack. Yeah. And it's so unique because I'm walking into the district as we're about to build a school.
Yep.
So I would like to get with these architects and maintain architectural appeal with natural lighting, and at the same time make it as difficult as possible for somebody to come into these buildings, cause harm, while also making it as easy as possible for responding units to apprehend somebody that comes to do harm.
So those are the kind of ideas that truly will change safety for our kids. I love that. I've often said something that sounds sarcastic, but it's not meant to be. It's going to sound that way. But if you truly care about the safety of our children, all you have to do is protect our children in the same way you protect our money.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know it sounds sarcastic, but it's not meant to be.
No, and it's unfortunately very true.
Yeah, you don't get away with the attacks on our gold and silver. It's just unbelievable, and our kids are all of them are far more valuable than gold and silver, and yet we treat them with less concern when it comes to safety. And I don't mind being the one to say it. I think that there certainly could be, and that may be a great start. Good work.
Well, I've known MPs that were stationed at Fort Knox, and there's a lot of money spent on protecting that.
Yeah. Can you imagine if we truly, if we focus? I don't need you to get into that, but that's just a thought of mine that I've had for a long time. And my wife is a school teacher, 24 years this year, and the conversations
I hope you thank your wife
had
for that, because I think that might be a little bit harder of a job than a law enforcement officer.
It is tough because you have little to no control authority over the situation. You have to submit to an admin. You have to submit to a parent, when the reality is these teachers are in hand with these children day in and day out. They know their behavior. They know, and they are attacked regularly.
Right.
And anyhow, look, you're going to get me all stirred up.
Well, I mean, these poor teachers, with a 45-minute class block, they have a disruption, and it ends up taking up 30 minutes to deal with that issue.
Right.
And that leaves barely 15 minutes for teaching when they can no longer immediately deal with a disciplinary problem. They need to be re-empowered on what they're able to do.
So before I get into it, I'm going to pull myself back from this. Here's what I want to do, because you have some really interesting. You have an interesting lapel pin on right now, and I know some of the story, not all the story. Give us the 1 minute on your airplane experience and how it changed your life.
Well, so I started taking flight lessons at 11 years old. My parents said, because I wanted to take flight lessons, they go, look, if you pay for it, you can do it. Well, they didn't realize that I'd start cutting grass and digging holes, and I started paying for flight lessons at 11 years old. Yeah. And so I've been flying for the majority of my life. And in 2021, I had an engine failure in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico, out of 14,000 feet.
Wow.
In a single-engine airplane. And I was trying very, very hard to make an airport. And glided for a good 20 miles.
Wow.
But I was too short to make the airport, and there was a mountain range, so I had to find the flattest spot of that mountain range to set the airplane down. Even the flattest spot, there's still topography, and it ended up totaling the airplane, and I had a long list of injuries.
So how many surgeries did you have from that?
12 or 13.
You're like Superman. I mean, except you can't fly well.
Oh no! Hey, you know what? I still
without a plane.
Right,
yeah.
without an airplane,
right.
I can't fly
without
very
a plane.
well.
Yeah. Wow, you are something else. What a story! I heard a little bit about it, and I was told to ask you that question.
Hey, I still consider that a very, very good landing.
Oh, it would be a much better landing than I did. Yeah, good work. No, what a great story, and I can't imagine the experiences of life that you've pulled from that after surgery and wondering, where do I find my hope? How do I pull up out of this? And here you are in front of me running for the school board.
And I'll tell you, it was very, very wild, because at one point I did lose feeling from the waist down.
Wow.
I was at one point paralyzed, and after my spinal tap and fusion, it was, I had a doctor tell me, hey, I'm going to be honest with you. It's about 20% you'll walk again. And then, 24 hours later after the surgery, it was, oh, you're going to be good.
Oh, you're going to be good.
I'm like, dang.
I didn't know Adam that well. I gave you a 20%.
So I've temporarily experienced being paralyzed from the waist
good for
down,
you.
and relearning how to walk. And
I can't imagine.
But I'll tell you, it was 10 months, almost to the day that I went from crashed in the hospital to back in a police car.
Wow. How is that even possible? That doesn't even sound like your body could heal that quickly.
Well, You know, my leg, my femur, because I snapped my femur, it wasn't healing. That's the one thing that was holding me up. So I
Wow.
actually had to have the rod taken out and reinstalled.
Really?
A new one. Yeah, here in
Wow.
Houston. But the big thing was I was very, very motivated. I want my daughter to see her dad.
Yeah.
You know, I want her to grow up knowing that she can accomplish anything.
Yeah.
And I wanted to lead by example with that.
Well, you did, and you do. You're doing a great job. So
I appreciate it.
The last little poke that I have to make with you is Monday. I was very aware of the board, the Fort Bend ISD board meeting Monday night. There were pastors and moms and others that were there, disappointed, frustrated, annoyed, and bothered by some of the books that are in the libraries at the school. And sitting through that reading of some of those books, I'm 55 years old. I've been a cop forever. I've said probably more than I should, and I've certainly seen more than I should. And I got to tell you, it was painful to watch that. So as a guy saying, I want to run and lead in Fort Bend ISD, my quick question is, why in the world would you want to do that? And then you said something to me in response to when I said why, and I thought it was a perfect answer.
You got to refresh me on what
I
I said.
said why, and you said, unless men like you and I, and women like you and I,
and men and women of integrity,
you got to.
Well, unless guys and gals of integrity step up to take these kinds of roles, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah,
and that was a very rough meeting to watch.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah, and that's just kind of an indication that you know, people are not confident in the school system anymore. And I want to be I want to be a step in reinstilling that confidence. And you know, I want everybody to know that I'm going to do it with honesty and integrity, and I will be you know, be a steward. I'm a steward to the people and my daughter Mariah.
I love that. Hey, so Adam, what I'm going to do is I'm flipping your camera on, and what I would like you to do is look at the viewer, and you're going to tell them how they can help you as this election approaches. Maybe, you know, some final thoughts to help them understand you better. But they're all yours. So say whatever it is that's on your mind.
Well, I'm going to need a lot of prayer in this one. You know, this is a very tough position to run for, and this is a very short campaign. If everybody could tell 10 of their friends about me, that'd be really appreciative, and come out to vote in the May election. And then lastly, if anybody can host a meet and greet, I'd be more than happy to come.
How do they get in touch with you?
Well, I've got a website, fortbend4adam.com, and it's not the letter or the number 4. It's actually all spelled out. But my direct contact info is on there. And
your phone number's on there, your email's on there?
Right, and my phone number is 832-344-6715, and I can be contacted at any time.
Perfect. So does a person, I'm going to come back to us, does a person have to live in position 2 or all of Fort Bend ISD?
No, it's for all of Fort Bend ISD.
Okay.
It's anywhere. If you live anywhere in Fort Bend ISD, you are eligible to vote.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm seeing there are elections for position 2 and 6.
Correct. 2 and 6 are currently
Okay,
up.
so anybody in Fort Bend ISD can vote. Adam's asking for your vote. Adam is asking for you to engage. In fact, let me go to my camera. Okay, I do this all the time. The fact that Adam's on this show is not an endorsement, but what it is a chance for you to get to know Adam. So you may be sitting there going, I don't like him, or I love the guy. Well, that's between you and Adam. You need to take it up with Adam. You go to his email. You call him on a cell phone. You host an event in your neighborhood. In fact, when is the election?
May 4th.
May 4th. Man, they are out of time. Okay, so guys, you got a month, essentially. You have a month-ish. And Adam will come, I'm assuming, to your home. If you can do like a driveway party and just host, get you some lemonade and tea and have the neighbors come over and they can meet Adam. He's a veteran. He's a police officer. He's a good guy, and he can fly even without a plane. So you guys, if he's your guy, please get behind Adam and help him out any way you can. Adam, I can't thank you enough. My hope for you is you'll achieve everything that you want to, whether it's a board or otherwise. You sound like a great guy. You want to just show your daughter how men are and how community should be. And so I challenge you to keep that battle up and stay as blue and uniform as you can, because I love you for that.
Absolutely.
But we'll see you soon, and I'll sign off like I always do. Howdy, Fort Bend, and I'll see you again.